Peter,
Hello.
get your first 25 Bible. We're going to talk about the fellowship of the first 25.
I'm gonna kick your ass, man. I don't need that shit. It's already late here. Oh, Phil and Lala here. You can go and talk to them about it.
All right, if you turn your Bibles to page 25, we're going to talk about the fellowship of the first 25.
What on earth are you coming to?
Bow your heads in prayer.
XP, this is why people, change over to Satanism.
Good evening. Hope everyone's well. Luke, do you want to kick us off with a product update?
Yep, sure, can do that. We got a bit happening at the moment. We're sort of obviously coming up to Christmas, so one thing I just wanted to mention is that we've got an internal code freeze on the 15th of December. So that just means we won't push anything out after that date. So just be mindful of that. But what we're doing obviously is to try and get everything we can out before that cutoff. So we're going to get a build that we deem to be sort of a safe build this week, which will just have some bug fixes in it, and we'll try and get that out and get that in people's hands before Christmas. And then we'll have another one that follows soon after that with some features in it, and then we'll make a call as to whether we can push that before Christmas. But obviously we don't want to do anything too risky before the break to affect stability or anything. But that's kind of just a general update. As far as the actual products themselves, I mentioned that we're going to do some work on COGs Quest, so that's started. That's getting a fair bit of love at the moment. We've had we've got a new build today, which was exciting. We haven't had one for a little while. So far, what I'm seeing is it's loading faster, and we seem to have squashed the main bugs that we had. So we'll try and get an interim build of that out as well this month, and then there'll be another one in January, which will have some new features. I don't know if Phil wants to touch on that when I'm done as to what those features are, but there's a few things in the pipeline on that as well. The other thing we're working on generally is what we've kind of touched on before, is working out a bit more of a path between COGs Quest and the Vault to try and bring people over and give people more of an incentive to jump from one to the other, so we can sort of I suppose leverage both user bases, and especially the COGs Quest to Vault user base. We've been testing AI NPCs a bit, and we've been, obviously as you've seen, but we've started testing some new functionality, like the ability for the AI NPCs to start conversations and actually instigate that conversation without having the user having to engage with them. So that would be good for things like bouncers at live events, salespeople, that type of thing, where you sort of, when you get in their proximity, in their zone, then they'll start up the conversation. I think a bouncer's a bit of a funny one and a bit of a novelty, but I think that'd be a cool use case for the bouncer to give you shit when you're trying to get into the club and tell you your shoes are no good and you need a haircut. I think that'd be a lot of fun. So yeah, we'll get some, like, a bit of a proof of concept out of that in the near future, so people can start playing with that as well. We've added some further tweaks to the apartments, Archimoto, DJ event, so they'll just sort of keep trickling out. There was a few just mainly optimization type things in Archimoto, but that's obviously looking really cool now, so we want to get some more activity happening in there too. It's good. It's kind of these little facelifts that we're doing is kind of revitalizing those areas, and even in our own minds internally, just sort of giving them a bit of just reminding us that they all need some love. Custom templates I talked about a couple of weeks ago, but we're adding those in at the moment. We've started the process of adding that custom template in for the districts, so that allows dynamic loading of the scene. So that basically means that we can scale out those custom districts and have sub districts and all the rest of it. So that's going to help a lot with the second city and others that are sort of queued up as well. So we're fast tracking that. There was a couple of roadblocks we had to get over, but we think we're good. We think we're good now to progress on that. We still have to figure out some of the game mechanic type stuff, but this will allow us to have assets that can be refreshed externally. So basically, we can change assets in the cloud, and next time you load the scene, they'll get pulled down. So it can be dynamic. We don't have to rely on pushing builds out for these things to be updated. So that's going to be really cool to be able to offer that to creators. Treasure chests are getting some love. So you've probably seen that the treasure chests as a POC, have been moving around a bit. We've been testing the spawning locations and just trying to get a bit of feedback on that. We think that's gone pretty well so far, and I mean, definitely from a technical standpoint, it's been working. So we'll obviously add more locations and incentives for people to go in there every day and open them up. So there'll be stuff that's way beyond AI credits as it is now. In fact, AI credits will be separated. That was just sort of for that proof of concept phase. So we'll come back with more information. I don't think we want to spoil too much on that side yet, but just keep an eye on it. And I would suggest that when the build comes out with the new chests, even if you don't really understand what they're for yet, I would start collecting them. That'd be my tip to you. That's a bit of alpha for you, and just an insider tip. So I would get in there and start collecting them. I think it'll pay off in the long run. Mobile audio issues is something we've had a bit of feedback on. Well, we've had feedback on the feedback issue, where there's a bit of background noise, which is obviously more of a problem when we've got an event on and there's a lot of people in the room. I know people have mentioned that, so that's something we're focusing on at the moment, trying to get that sorted out. We're also looking at issues on mobiles that have been reported with devices that have lower RAM levels, so sort of 4 gig of RAM or less. And obviously that's more iOS. I mean, there are probably some Android devices affected as well, but we've mainly seen iOS issues. So they're mainly just improvements that we're doing around caching. A lot of it's AI objects like skyboxes and things like that. And also some of the ways that the multiplayer side of things is working in events when you've got a lot of avatars in there that are chewing up resources. So we've identified some key areas we can sort of improve on. I'm not saying it's going to fix everything, but we'll just keep working on these things as we go. And one of the reasons we sort of fast track these DJ events is because we knew we would get good numbers in there. We've got obviously staff engaged in there as well, so we can get a good group of people in a contained scene, and then that's a really good way of testing what these issues are and sorting them out quickly. Also, we have a couple of new devs that we've onboarded. I'd said that we were going to get some new developers in, and that's happened. So we've onboarded them now. They're very experienced in VR and the back-end services that we're using. So their job at the moment is to go back over the code that's existing and optimize everything. That kind of ties in a bit with the mobile side of things too. So they'll obviously be a big part of that. Those improvements to the optimization and the resource usage on these devices. And we've already seen some good progress in that area. So we're very confident that we're going to see really good improvements, not only on that optimization, but just generally across the board. So excited to get some more updates out on that next year. But for this year, like I said, stable build, squash those bugs, get a couple of features out. We're really trying to get these this new chest mechanics out and make sure that people understand those before the Christmas break. We want people to be able to go in and start grinding away at those. But again, we can't promise at this point. It's just we're focusing on it. We're trying to do it, but obviously that window of time is pretty small. But we will do our best and get a release out as soon as we possibly can. We'll have one this week. We're waiting for one right now, actually, at the moment. So we'll probably know more in the next couple of days. And if anyone wants any updates on that, we can just do it through the Discord channel. If anyone wants any updates, and if we do have a build coming, Lala will update everyone as normal anyway. Is there anything I didn't cover or didn't spoil that anyone wants to? I don't know, Red Pill or Pete or anyone else?
Yeah, mine's about COGs, but yeah, I think let Red Pill handle the vault stuff first.
Okay. Did you want to add anything, Red Pill, or are you good?
I think you got it really comprehensively. I don't think I have anything to add.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, we're all pretty happy. I think that the new team that we're onboarding seems to be pretty strong. So I think you guys will also notice that pretty soon. I think that we can roll out things faster and increase the stability and stuff like that. So yeah, we're really excited about that part.
Do you want to do the COG stuff now, Pete?
Yeah, sure. I think I'm not sure exactly when the comms will be going out, but you guys, as usual, get the alpha. Next week, we will be releasing a new recipe for crafting for COG Quest packs. Details will be in the comms that will come out, I guess, I don't know, tomorrow. Lala, is it tomorrow?
Maybe. But yeah,
Yeah, okay, so
alpha
stay
here right
tuned for the
now.
blog. Yeah, that's all I can say for the alpha, but stay tuned, all details will be in the blog. So go read them. Don't DM me asking me what the recipe is. It's in the blog.
Hey, Ben, I can just this first question as well, just before we close off on the update because it's related. So Face is asking, loading screens can take a while to complete. Is it feasible to build functionality that uploads new assets, builds in the background, either whilst in the vault or offline? So even the stuff that we're doing at the moment of pulling down these addressables is not. I know. We're definitely not the only ones doing it. A lot of projects are sort of doing that now, but that is pretty new tech, and even that's not even that sort of evolving and changing over time. But one thing we're looking at the moment, and this is really new, like it's just sort of happening at the moment, and there's a few AAA studios that are sort of working on it, is streaming of these addressables. So addressables are the packages that have the assets in them, and basically what it does is it looks in the cloud to see if there's any deltas. So basically whatever you've cached from last time you've gone into that scene or the quarter you've loaded or whatever it is, it goes and compares it to what's in the cloud. If there's changes, it pulls the deltas down. And I think that the art in that is knowing which ones are deltas and which ones aren't. And we're probably a bit heavy at times where we pull down too much to be on the safe side, and that obviously increases loading time. So there's things we can do to sort of tweak that and speed that up anyway to make sure that we're deduping that data and not pulling everything down in those packages. But that's only going to get you so far. But what is sort of emerging now is streaming of those assets. So what you basically get is the bare minimum to load that scene. So you'll get just whatever you can see immediately, and as you start to walk forward, it'll pull other assets down. Again, this is like really new stuff, and it kind of looks like the LOD stuff you see in older games where basically things are sort of grayed out and murky, and then as you approach them, they get clearer. It's kind of like that, but the assets are already cached in those games or loaded in those games, and you're just not seeing them for performance reasons. But this is about minimizing load time, so actually pulling them down live and loading them as you progress. So we're looking into that. That's going to take a little bit of time. It's not something that'll happen straight away. But in the meantime, having smaller packages, better cataloging, better management of those packages so that we know exactly what's in them and we can only download exactly what we need will be the interim step. And that's something that's being done right now. So we are already looking at improving the performance of those load times and not downloading more than is required. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, mate. So we will jump into some of those other questions first. So we've got CoinGecko was used to market the district sale. Will this be done again for the Vault or RFOX in general? So yes. So CoinGecko are a marquee client, so we will be doing stuff related to them and their district for sure. So yes, I think that's the short answer, the easiest way to answer it. We saw a partnership with Yield Guild Games back in October 21. Will we see them in the vault anytime soon, along with other marquee clients? I don't know if you want to add anything there in RFOX, but yeah, did you want to add it? Is there anything you want to add there?
Well, I can say that the actually, I'm not sure what I can say. They do have now.
That's why I handed it to you, mate.
Yeah. So we've turned over access to YGG, and they will, start working on it. I think that's all I can say at this point.
Yeah. So, yeah. So the short answer to that is yes, and I think the longer answer to the partners and stuff in general is that, to the best of our capacity, we are onboarding people slowly now, getting lists of their requirements and stuff. And as has been stated many times before, it's people are working with what they have, with what we have, and trying to sort of best utilize, the progress or the stage that we're at and they're at. So you'll definitely start to see more wheels start rolling over now. And I think that there's also a renewed interest from people in general due to the fact that obviously the market cycle's turning around. So for people that were sort of thinking to themselves, as bears do in the winter, they hibernate. There's a lot of people sort of starting to thaw out and understand that the sun's coming out, and it's a good time to sort of reassess things. So we've also had a few people get back in contact that haven't been in contact for a while, and on the partnership front, or on talking to people re-partnerships, that's becoming easier and easier. And it's also obviously better now that we've got a little bit more to offer as well, and we've got cool stuff. But some of that cool stuff gives people ideas as well. So it's a matter of taming those ideas and making sure that expectations are set, because once people start to see the breadcrumbs and what we've got, it's a matter of, could we do this, or we should do this? And it's a crawl before you walk thing. There's so much stuff being added, and as Luke said in the preamble, is that you're going to see things move more quickly, and as we get a more solid platform and foundation, you're going to see things pile on top and come to light much faster. But again, we're looking really forward to the point where we can turn over and start saying to all of these creators that use these tools in conjunction and in any way that you see fit, and they're going to come up with stuff way better than what we've shown you so far. And I mean, as I said, we've had that internal transition some period of time ago where people have gone from, I know my part and I know what I'm building and I know what I'm contributing, but I don't really know how the whole thing's going to fit together with all the pieces. And now it's turned into much more of a, I've got an idea, do you know what we should do? This would be really cool, or now we can do this. So it's a really exciting phase for us to go through as well. So as stated previously, we sort of asked for 50 suggestions. I don't know how long we gave them Red Pill. It was like half an hour or something. We said, let's come up with 50 suggestions on things that could be implemented. And it was up to 150 very, very quickly. There was a lot of people sitting on a lot of ideas waiting for us to be able to facilitate and have the capacity for that. So now it's I think you probably regret having asked that question, Red Pill, with the amount of work it'll put on the backlog. But it's good.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. We got to do those sessions more and more, of course. And even if you can't get to all of those items, it gives you a really good overview. What we saw, for example, is that a couple of features were possible to get enabled by building one enabling feature, for example, and that's how we were able to prioritize it better. And a lot of them will be in there soon as well. Some of them are already getting in. And it's also, you look at different things in the vault differently when you have those ideas and suggestions in your mind, because you see opportunities that you didn't see before with what we actually have. And I think that's one of the lowest hanging fruits, to just see, look at what we have, and then figure out how to leverage that the best way without building anything new. And often there's plenty of stuff that you can do.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and again, that's like the team that we have putting up suggestions. If you've got this open to the wider public and the public know what can be facilitated or what possibilities there are, it's going to be frightening how many ideas, suggestions, and things start getting built, which is exactly what we want. And as we've always said, what we put out will be an example of what can be done. And we're rapidly nearing the point where we don't really have to build many more showcases. It's more about finishing the tools and the SDKs and APIs, so that people say, yeah, got it, just unleash the Kraken and let me get in there and build. So that's going to be really exciting. What's the state of the Livestream e-commerce app RFOX produced some years ago? Is RFOX still aiming to enter this market by pushing out this app? So one thing that we can say in relation to this is that that the market for this has changed considerably, and it was an ever-changing piece even back then. I've got a video I really would like to, maybe someone from the team can remind me, or Lala, and I'll get it to you and put it in here. There's this amazing video of, you have to see it to believe it, because when I explain it, it's not going to do the justice. There is a woman in China who is an extremely famous e-commerce streamer, and what she does is literally has these, like a polished table, and they slide boxes to her, and she literally lifts up like a jacket out of the box and drops it back again, and then slides it, and then lifts up a ball or a skirt or whatever, and she is putting through like some serious volume. And you think to yourself, how does anyone focus on that? And they're saying that she's doing, I think there's different reports on the when they were verifying it, but she was doing something like $19 million worth of sales in her peak live streams. It is phenomenal. But the other thing that we've also learned is that a lot of those live streaming companies and apps haven't fared well if
Benny, do
they're
you
in
want
the
me to
wrong
share it in
direction.
chat?
Yeah,
I have the
yeah.
video. Okay.
It's one of the most insane things I've ever seen, and I've watched it like 20 times, because I just keep thinking, this can't be real. I just don't understand it. But the more I watch it, the more you realize you get enough of a view of it to be able to say yay or nay. And I mean, one of the old tricks in the advertising market, I watched a documentary on it. When you've got all these crappy cheap shoe places that they used to advertise on TV all the time, they would always be dancing around in the shoes or whatever, so you can't focus on how crap they actually are if they were still. But these people would be dancing with 20 different pairs of shoes in a 30-second ad, and it's really not much different. There's enough, you see it enough to be able to say, oh, I like that shoe, I want to go to the store and have a look. Things have changed a lot. But ultimately, as far as the e-commerce streaming is concerned, we've said for about, 18 months or so, maybe 2 years now, that the way that metaverses and COVID and all the rest of it has changed this landscape completely is I've had countless conversations, not for a while now, but between 2 years and a year ago, where people were trying to work out how that type of selling would come into these metaverse type platforms. And as stated before, I think we've got a fairly good idea of how that could work. But I think what you're going to see is a hybrid, and you're going to see stuff like, as I've said before, I've used the example with like a famous recording artist or whatever performing, and then you can have interchangeable backgrounds where you can do product placements. You can bid live for interchangeable backgrounds. So if you know, I don't know, some famous band, 21 Pilots is playing in the metaverse, and then they've got a background, you could say, well, there's 100,000 eyeballs on this. I want to bid for the background, and have these live product placement banners and ads and all the rest of it, or buy the performances. So I think what you're going to see is a lot of product placement type of marketing in these virtual worlds and platforms. And if you think back to the old days, it's not that hard to imagine, because the first video games that had the advertising, when Red Bull used to take out signboards and billboards in video games, now it's like everywhere. EA Sports, you watch a football game that's got the banners. They even sell the stadium seats and stuff like that. So I think that you're always going to have some form of what we currently see as e-commerce streaming, but I think it's going to be much more digestible. GTA 6 is the big thing that everybody's talking about at the moment. The product placement opportunities that games that have the attention that they have will be phenomenal. And I think that's the kind of that's the kind of way that it'll all sort of morph into is what I think. So how we had it before and how we had built for before with the app, I think that's already something that's been highly saturated, and people have moved on from that to different formats and views. And outside of China, there's not a lot of successful examples. And I've spoken to tons of VCs over the last year that have said I've invested in lots of those and they've just gone nowhere for them. So yep, it's an attention economy, and we have to use the platform to push products like that. Pete, you might be able to add some context on the next one as well. Any plan to reunify the COGs community? It's been pretty dead and hard to trade for quite some time now.
I'm not sure what the context of this is around. Like, when I say it's hard to trade, people have been sending me trade on a daily basis, and I can't keep up with the trades that I'm getting. So, and the trade chat is also quite bustling these days. People, messaging saying, "Hey, I sent you a trade. Can you please check it?" But I think I need to get more context around it. Like, maybe specifically around what sets, or
I think also, Pete, if they're talking about reunifying the COGS community, if there's a lot of people that aren't still active as traders, they could have a lot of sought after or obscure or rare COGs or something like that. But I think in general terms, I think it's fair to say that there's a fair bit of planning around COGs for sure. One thing that we know is extremely important is that as we go through this run, it's extremely important to get people back and to get a ton of people, new people into COGs, because this is, by all accounts, this will be a pretty big onboarding. You've got a convergence of all the planets coming together at the same time, and ETFs and big scale players coming into the market. Now you've got sovereign funds coming in, and retail will follow. So it's extremely important that we don't sort of just think that magically people will fall from the sky. This is something that overall we're working on a fair bit of stuff. I know that I've had a couple of you ask questions about Paul Barron or what they're talking about stuff cooking. A lot of people have talked to us over the last 6 months or a year. They know that we're working on a number of different pieces that take time to put together. And I think that will all come together and look like a lot's dropping all at once, but it's going to be more a byproduct of planning on releasing stuff for a long period of time. And those, again, having a platform allows us to be able to do that. But it is extremely important that as a brand and as IP, that COGS is at the forefront of this movement. And I think you will see that revival of a lot of players, projects, NFTs, games, anything that was around before that still has active team and active development and has been continually and consistently developing. And now that we have the platform, there is absolutely no reason for COGS to just be sort of tossed to the wayside or forgotten or neglected or anything like that. So we understand the imperative importance of getting this really humming along during this market.
We are actively working on stuff around COGs itself. So yeah, I mean, like I said, next week we're gonna be pushing out crafting so that people can do that and then trade over Christmas. I know a lot of people will be crafting it, and a lot of people will want to trade, but I'll be out on vacation, so don't bug me too much. But I'll settle trades after I get back.
Yeah, also one thing I mentioned, I think Luke touched on it a bit earlier today in his updates regarding COGs Quest and the Vault. We really want to work. We have a new developer now also on the COGs game that's currently doing some fixes, and then we're also working on a couple of features. And we want to really make sure that game is really leveraged, and we make it really fun and interesting, and then have that act as a funnel to the Vault as well. So we will have like push notifications in the COGs Quest game to bring people over to the Vault. And also in the Vault, we want to do more with COGs as well. So, I mean, they're definitely like it's on our mind to, to get that kind of engagement back that we once had in the COGs community and on the market and everything. So it's definitely one of the priorities. And actually, just today I had a conversation, like a brainstorm around exactly how we want to strategize around that. But yeah, we have a couple of plans, and we're really excited about it, obviously, because with COGs is how everything started, right? That was our first real release that we had, and that's how the community was built in the beginning, and that's how our first people really joined. So I think, we saw it grow up, and there's no way that we just keep it hanging. So yeah, there'll be some exciting stuff coming.
Thanks, mate. Oh, this is a good one. We can go around the table and answer this one. Biggest surprise for community in 2024 in 10 words. I would say people will finally understand what we've been building for years. So there's your 10 words. But I think that will definitely come in the form of some other big platforms entering the foray. And also, I think you'll get our first real proper, how do I say that politely without offending people? You'll get your first real influential users that are not paid shillers that discover it and say, this is something good enough for me to want to share without having to be paid $40,000 to be talking about it. That's how the world works, boys and girls. So someone else want to have a crack at the 10 words? Sorry?
Just to be clear, not that we've done that. We haven't been paying people at all, and we don't plan on doing that. It sounded a little bit like you were saying that we're going to stop doing that.
No, but I mean, that's a criticism that we've had for many years. People keep saying, how come no one talks about you, or how come no one knows about you? And I think it's an expectation that people, it's a fine balance that you push, because people say, hey, get that shiller to talk about you. And then you sort of, then people say, how much are you getting paid to dump on your followers and stuff? And it's kind of like this horrible, vicious cycle. I just think that we've finally built something that's good enough for, as you guys know, if you've been in there and you've seen it and you've used it, and there's still a long way to go in the early stages, but it's good enough to talk about, and it's good enough to tell people, and it's good enough to dream about what can come. So it's next year we'll definitely get a couple of influential people come in there and say, yeah, it's good enough for me to talk about. I don't need anyone to pay me to do that. So yeah, and we'll feel good about it when that does happen. Someone else want to have a crack? 10 words.
Everyone's thinking.
It's a limit. That's the reason. And I can't count for shit.
Everyone's counting on their fingers.
Yeah, you go and you're practicing things and putting your fingers up. I can see it through the monitor. You're going 7.
Yeah, I had to learn ours. I
That's
can't
12.
count.
I'm
Just,
not gonna
just say
stick
what's on
to
your
the-
mind.
Yeah, I'm not gonna stick to the
Yeah, do
templates, but like I think it's already surprising, right? The advancements in AI, but the stuff that we are sharing internally is just mind blowing, and I think we're gonna see a lot more just life changing applications coming out of the AI space and being played with in the vault and tested, because the vault is going to be an amazing place for people to experience these and test these things out. So yeah, get ready for that.
Yeah, I guess I'll jump
Lala?
in. Yeah, so for me, it's really I can already see it happening day by day. I bump into new people every now and then at random hours because I'm there at really random hours, and I don't know whether some of you have experienced it, but I'm sure a few of the community members are very active. Is really the interaction of knowing someone new and someone just coming back with the feedback. Oh yeah, I just walked in and I just wanted to know what's going on. And I think in 2024 it's going to be something like that. And you'll be the first few people who really understand what's happening. And it's going to be an interesting thing to see because I remember back then, I'm sure Pete does too, when World of Warcraft had guilds and stuff like that. You guys are going to have cliques. You guys are going to find people who have very similar interests, and that's what I'm really looking forward to. Likely to bully most of them, but yeah, we need to find a way to identify the RFOX team members just so I don't get banned either, because I have a feeling I might. But yeah, that's it for me.
Pete, Luke?
I think we're going to see more scalability, customization, and variety of things to do, which is kind of just, you know, it ties into what you were saying, Ben, about the creators coming in. But I think just using AI tools as well, you know, NPCs, just we're going to be able to build this out both internally and externally much faster. I'm hoping we see a lot of stability on the platform itself, and that everything sort of changes around it. So we're customizing what we already have rather than you know, having to fiddle with things all the time. So that's kind of what I'm expecting and hoping to see.
Yeah, I'm hoping to see more the creator side of things, where people outside our team can build, and you know, that's basically using our tools that we've been building. We're not there yet, but I think next year for sure.
Red Pill?
Yeah, so also I'll have to try and feel with that. That AI is going to be still super exciting. We still really just scratched the surface of what's possible. I'm really excited about those GPTs that are coming out from OpenAI. I think that's going to be a huge platform and extremely flexible. This will also introduce things like more layers where creators get creative in our platform. So all those kind of surfaces are really interesting because it's not only the SDK that creators will be involved in, but other platforms as well. And those GPTs from OpenAI will be one of those platforms, I think. And then in general, those AI NPCs where creators can get creative and create content around it and, you know, eventually monetize it. And yeah, I think that's the second part, just, you know, the whole thing that we're working on around the economy, making things rewarding and having a way for actually making money through our platform. I think that's also going to be a huge step. We are not there yet, and we're working on it, but there are a lot of areas where we can see that, you know, working. And yeah, I think that's going to be huge as well. Other than that, I think a lot of it will come down to just making it a more finished product. Obviously, the UI and everything will completely change. That's going to be a big one. It's going to look really sleek. We're already doing the testing sessions with our users. I think a couple of you guys even joined today. You know, testing those new UIs, if they're good, what we need to change. So that's going to be much better. And the whole onboarding and, you know, navigating in the vault will also be much more straightforward for new users. So the goal is to really come in there and immediately see, okay, that's the value that I get here. Those are things that I can play. Those are reasons why I want to come in here again tomorrow. And yeah, that's all stuff that will come in. And one interesting part as well with those kinds of platforms is that you need to reach a certain critical mass of users to make it even more, exciting and interesting. And I think we will reach that point for sure once we bring more and more of those things in. So yeah.
Gecko, nice of you to join us, mate.
African internet as always. Just finally back again. Apparently some lions have been chewing on some of the fiber cables around here, so they had to go pull some new ones. But yeah, for me, it's 100% AI, and I think there's a lot coming that's going to help with mental health and things like that.
It is quite amazing to see now, because previously without a platform, you just sort of, everything's a piece, right? So it's kind of like if you imagine if we were building a TV or something, it's like we've been soldering and putting wires together and transformers and building all the components. And now we've kind of, loosely got the screen attached, and we're kind of starting to see the first little flickers of what could be. But, you quickly transition from that into, a cinematic experience and having people say, holy shit, it's going to develop faster now that people can also see it with us. When you're just, throwing a ball over the fence from one side and saying, hey, come and have a look at this, and this is going to be this, and it's going to be this. When you've got people that can actually see it, and you've got a lot of people that are approaching it from different angles, and like Gecko just mentioned, then the stuff that is, we need to balance stuff as well. So even though it's good to have all this AI stuff, the good that it can do, it's not just about playing a video game, or it's not just about an experience. If you can actually help people with issues like mental health, and you can reach people that couldn't have been reached physically previously, and you might say, well, that's what the internet's for. I'm talking about the internet causes most of those mental problems. The thing is that if we can actually do some good as well, and by us I mean people that are using the platform and creating on the platform, then I think we'd all feel a lot better about the fact that that you're making some inroads. There's a lot of good that can be done. It should be a powerful tool, not just a marketplace or a selling tool or something like that. Oh, there we go. The first 25. Wouldn't get through an evening without that, would you? What's RFOX's top 3 to 5 goals tied to the strategy for 2024 as a company? Any tangible tasks you can expand on to reach those goals, and mass adoption is an obvious one. From my perspective, from the top level, it's definitely to have other people help to sell the vision and the idea. And when I say other people, that's the users and the creators. When you've got other people out there telling other people, sharing it with other people, wanting to invite them in, and you might say, well, we're here on the call every week and we're telling people, and we're trying to get, I'm talking about if it's something that you sort of wake up in the morning and you go, shit, what happened when I wasn't in there? Or did that place open yet? Or did I miss that event? And it's something that you're really honestly excited about. I think that's when you've got other people doing your marketing for you as well. And that's going to be obviously something that we grasp with both hands, because we've never excelled in that field or tried to up to this point. So I think that's very important. And again, none of that can happen without having a really smooth onboarding process, really engaging mechanics and metrics, but also attracting great quality content creators and developers. That's the problem that everybody has, and you it's not an isolated incident. If you look at, you've got, like, I won't name names, but in our space, people say there's no one on your platform, there's no users. And in our space, the people that run those platforms go, yeah, there is, and the data's wrong, and there's heaps of users, and what are you talking about? You go outside into a more mature market like the Web 2 space, and you say to someone like Roblox or whatever, not enough content or whatever, and the first thing that those type of more mature companies say, they turn around and they go, "We're working on it. We're acquiring companies. We're partnering with people. We're fixing that. We understand that content is important. We understand that those creators are important. We're trying to onboard them. We're spending money, time, effort." So you've got that. The more mature companies are less defensive about the things that are being said about them being wrong. They're more proactive in saying, yes, it's something that we understand, we're addressing, and we're trying to fix it. So if we can get to a point where we can onboard great quality creators, users and creators that are doing marketing for us, which is in turn for themselves, then I think we're in a really bloody good spot. And that's what you'd sort of get from having the SDKs, APIs, a stable build, and then a couple of just really good early stalwart type of clients and creators. And what would be really, really satisfying is to see one of these early, smaller creators that's come in early grow with you as a platform and end up becoming something massive. That would give me personally, I would think that would be the greatest delight. Or one of you guys from the community coming out and saying, "I've got an idea," seeing Adelaire and stuff doing stuff that's that he might think is small and a one-man band and all the rest of it, but you see, people giving money to charities or changing someone's viewpoint or changing the perception of the industry. All of that type of stuff is pretty humbling, and it's just going to grow and get bigger and bigger. So it'd be great to see one of you guys become a roaring success as a result of the platform. Question I got asked during the week was, I didn't know how to approach it, and I wasn't actually going to mention it, but I think it's still something good. I think it's kind of neutral in its tone, but it was along the lines of you often mention the fact that you're the only ones doing one thing or another thing, and then a combination of things, and then another thing. Do you ever wonder why you're the only person doing those things? And I think it's a pretty good question, and it's definitely worth looking at. I think the reason that a lot of people don't do a lot of the stuff that we're doing now is because the combination of these things is and Luke will add some context or Red Pill for sure, but ultimately it's a bit mental. Like, you're putting together pretty temperamental early stage technologies, and it's not just one or two things. You're putting pieces together that you don't know how they react to each other. It's kind of like just grabbing five cords and trying to plug them all into a power board, and there's a lot of moving pieces and there's a lot of new things. And I think that and rightfully so, a lot of people have tried to say, I'm going to do an NFT marketplace, or I'm going to do an avatar tool, or I'm going to do a speech recognition tool or something like that. And when you're doing a platform, you're kind of trying to build the power board that allows all the plugs to plug in. So it's a bit more ambitious in its nature. And I think that you also have to be very mindful of the fact that what you're building for has to be relevant for a period of time. You can't just build something for the fourth quarter of 2023. If you do, by the time you finish building it, you're on to the next quarter and things have moved, and we're seeing how fast things are moving with AI. So I think the short answer to that question is it's a bit ambitious what we're doing, of course, but I don't think it's a deterrent at all. And it's not like it's a boasting right to say we're the only ones. It's more like we think we've got a fairly basic understanding of what those pieces will look like together as a market. And I think that we're trying to just make sure that we're in the right position to be able to capture and plug those things in. And just like with the streaming app and stuff like that, we're not afraid to say the market's moved or technology's moved past something. There's no point, and we've said this many times before, hanging on to something just because you did it. sometimes you've got to say it's not the best avenue or path anymore, or things have moved past that, so just get on with it and move on. But there's a lot of companies in the world that sort of say, well, we spent a lot of time and money on that, and I'm not going to waste it. And I think that can sometimes be a hindrance. I need to reduce my amount of COGs. Any burning soon? Pete, any burnings coming up that you can talk about?
We talked about burning stuff, but you know, I cannot divulge any information about it yet. But yes, coincidentally, we talked about it today.
There you go. Influencers will go from this platform needs me to speak about it to be relevant to I need to speak about the platform to stay relevant. Oh, bloody hell, I'm stealing that, Voltox. You probably stole it from someone else. And I'm going to steal it from you. If you didn't steal it from somebody else, give that man a cookie. Questions? Okay. Bitcoin Benny, you've been quite bombastic on Twitter. When is timeline on that coming to fruition? The short, easiest way to answer that is, as I think it was Phil, someone was saying the stuff that's happening behind the scenes is quite mind blowing. As a result of that, it's not like we've got like one thing that we're working on that we're trying to secure at the moment. So we are quite literally working with most of the serious players in the AI tool space, and we're talking to a lot of the chains and companies in the ecosystem. We're talking to the providers in the space. We're talking to lots of different people. It's not one angle. And the thing is that it's just a matter of a couple of those things. When you're talking to all of those people, it's a matter of time before a couple of those things sort of click into place. But what is now happening as a result of that, at that convergence, is the opportunities that are coming from that are getting more significant. So before, like someone said it to me during the week, and I'll repeat what they said because I think it's so true. Back in the days of 2017, people would release a token, for example, and then they'd say it's not going as well as we thought it would. Maybe we should announce that we're doing a website, and then it'd pump 3 times, and then someone would say, "Hey, it's lost momentum. We should do a white paper." And it was that simple back in those days. But now we're getting to the product stage, and you're getting serious Web 2 players entering the space into the Web 3 space. And with that comes lots of possibilities, opportunities, people that understand their products and their markets very well. So I think once these things sort of keep getting signed off and keep moving in the right direction, it's going to be not just one little announcement that goes out. It's going to be a string of things that happen, and it's happening at the right time too, because we're coming into this new market. We've probably got a year to 18 months of the world's attention ahead of us. And I think that we're pretty well positioned to make sure that we really capitalize on that. So I think if you did see some of the stuff that's going on behind the scenes, some of the talks we have, and as Phil said, some of the tech implications and some of the stuff that we're seeing behind the scenes there, I'm probably being subdued compared to what we could be doing. Does those emulators work with the Vault?
Which emulators? BlueStacks or something, maybe.
Yeah, and I also tried a couple of them that actually didn't work. I think we need to switch something in the app to allow that. But yeah, one thing that's going to happen is a web build eventually, and we already have a version internally that works pretty well. So that's something that's coming out next year as well. And then you won't need to use an emulator. You can just go online and enter districts.
It'd be much smoother natively.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a much faster to access there,
XP's posted that tweet. Yeah. I saw a few people say to me, hundreds of thousands of people. The thing is, if you can't onboard hundreds of thousands of people into a platform, then you don't really have a platform, do you? You've got an idea that's got a concept behind it. The fact is, we'll need that, and plenty more to be successful in an ongoing way. But the thing is that you can knock on people's door and offer them $4 to come and try the vault, as we've said for many years, and round up the herd very, very slowly, or you can partner with a couple of other platforms from the Web2 space or gaming companies, etc., who have millions of users, and you can plug them in straight in, and that's a lot more direct path. Voltox, I didn't steal that poor English and I only accept VFox, not cookies. No, it's a really good quote, mate. Very insightful. Phil's written, ChibiXens need more airtime. What are you going to do?
Most people here are going to know what that is, Phil. Maybe you should explain it.
If you haven't seen the latest tweets, there are really cute versions of the citizens in the opening, in the intros to those videos.
Did you say cute?
It's
Yes,
Super
he said
cute.
cute.
Damn it!
Chibi style.
Anything that Phil touches, it's 1/4 the size.
It's cute and
Hey,
small.
This was Lala this time. This was not me.
No. Yeah, it's
Phil
Meow,
likes
it's
small
not-
things. It's just how it goes.
It's
He has to cope.
adorable. So cute. Yeah, I got a bit over myself for Christmas, so you're doing cutesy stuff this year.
Lala, we'll probably hand over to you if you've got anything. Just the last question, Artesh, is when will RFOX 2020 holders get rewards? So that's being factored in now. We have regular conversations about making sure that whatever lines come out, that RFOX 2020 holders are awarded. That's going to be we know that that's a special thing. And when will the vault be on PC? I don't like using it on my mobile. You need to get a headset, man. Luke, do you want to answer that one?
Or Red Pill just did. The
did he? Sorry.
Web version will be obviously work on PC, Mac, everything. So that will cover.
Yep. Awesome. Lala, anything that you want to add, remind, promote?
Reminder, we have another DJ event this Friday. Of course, contest is still up and running. I have received a few submissions. Thank you for those who sent it earlier. But again, there's a lot of money on the line for this competition before we end the year. There will be another event before we all go on break. I will update everybody on that one. It's going to be a good one. Basically, it's just making sure everyone gets a little bit of festive cheer before the holidays. And I hope everyone will join because we will be inviting all the other community members and communities that have been with us along the way for this year. So, yep, stay tuned for that info. It will be out by next week. That's about it for me.
Thank you. Actually, for those of you who went to last week's DJ event, that lady she played some pretty serious hard beats. That was really, really freaking enjoyable. It's getting pretty fun because if you stand still on the dance floor now, someone's going to jump on your head, and then there's going to be people jumping on their heads. I'm laughing because I said I'm not doing it. I said to my wife when I went in there, I said I'm not going to be doing that stupid totem pole thing. I'm not going to be jumping on people's heads. And then I saw a dude standing still, and I jumped straight on his head.
You can't
and within
help
10
it.
seconds,
It's human instinct, Benny. You can't resist. You just can't.
Yeah, I was
Just so
just standing
everyone,
there.
just so everyone's thinking
Well, I
about
was
Christmas, it's the 25th
yeah.
day of the month. So just food for thought, everybody.
Oh, there you go.
Someone
There you go.
needs
Don't you
that.
go in there and stand still, mate.
Good Lord.
We'll be
I took care of him
25 people.
permanently.
Did you mute him or did you kick him out? What the hell can you do?
You banned him.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. So yeah, thank you very, very much for stopping by and spending time with us again. Hope we answered your questions today and gave you some good updates. Thank you very much to the team for making time as well. And as always, we will see you in the vault. come along to the DJ event if you haven't been to one. It's actually really, really good fun. And again, don't stand still because we are definitely putting a totem pole on your head. Have
Enjoy
a
in
good one,
VR.
guys.
Have a
Actually,
great
Yeah,
night.
exactly.
I thought it was hilarious.
Bye-bye,
when-
everybody.
When Benny, your
Thanks,
wife, was
everyone.
asking you how you did it.
Yes.
Yeah, that was adorable.
Yeah, she thinks that no one else can hear. She thinks she's talking to me and everyone's going on like, only people can hear what
You didn't tell her. Oh my god, dude.
I know.
No,
It was funny because it looked like Benny was ignoring her. I'm like, why won't he tell her?
Terrible.
Yeah, she didn't understand that everyone. Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much. Have an awesome night, and we'll see you on Friday.
Have an awesome night, everybody. Thanks for coming. Bye.
Later,
Cheers,
guys.
everybody.